Somewhere in a prison, a person is taken in, face covered. An officer attends to them saying they want their things back which are of great worth. The man asks if they know anything about Tewkesbury. 1 year later, Tewkesbury is all prepared for his wedding on the island of Malta. However, his bride, Enola Holmes, is rather late. The door opens and they get excited, but it's only the groom's mother, Lady Tewkesbury. Enola is still in her house, hesitated a lot, but managed to finally get out and enter the cart. They're on their way when suddenly the driver says they're being pursued. Enola looks back and sees a man on a horse with his mouth covered. Realizing it must be a bandit, she leans out of the cart, gets her dress torn, grabs a gun, and hops over the cart. Soon, the man uncovers his face. It's only Dr. Watson. She falls off. Watson comes to help her saying the cover was for the dust. He says he was pursuing her because of her brother, Sherlock. He is missing and Watson believes he was kidnapped. Enola says that they were spending their lives very happily. Tewkesbury continued working on bringing change and she had joined the pantheon of great Victorian detectives. She worked together with her brother and she was happy. On the weekends, she spent her time with Tewkesbury and found it quite delightful. Then one day, he proposed to her for marriage. Sherlock, on the other hand, appeared to be working on something that he avoided telling her. The ceremony was in work and Lady Tewkesbury made a list of all the people to invite. While for Enola, it was only a few people. As the lady asks what about her mother, Enola responds that she is pretty much a fugitive for all her rebellious work of late. Lady Tewkesbury wonders who will walk her down the aisle and Enola knows it shall be Sherlock who is not quite happy about this event. Lady Tewkesbury suggests the wedding should take place in the island country of Malta because she married her husband there and it's a rich place. The island is currently under the military control of the British Empire. Enola says the wedding took place rather quickly with a huge family around her that she was not prepared for at all. At the table, the governor is present. Brigadier General, the godfather of the groom, gets up to make a toast. He makes a rather crude speech offending both her and Sherlock but laughs it away. Soon, an officer is seen on the upper story and Sherlock leaves the table. She finds him later and asks what case he's working on in Malta and why she doesn't know about it. Sherlock avoids talking about it but she grills him with questions. The topic soon moves to her marriage as Sherlock blames her for giving up on her name. He says she is better than that. Enola responds that their father is dead, their mother is always at risk and Sherlock is a bore. She would rather choose to leave her name for someone to love her. Sherlock says she is being emotional and Enola leaves the room frustrated. That was the last time Enola saw him. Now, in his room, Enola notices that his garments are untouched. So, whoever did this knows he doesn't care about them, meaning they know him very well. Moreover, the pipe is warm and it smells of a tobacco Sherlock doesn't prefer. She opens one of his notebooks and finds codes. She then notices the thread design of a dress on the floor. She is sure Sherlock has left him some clue and soon sees Morse code on the mirror depicting the word cost. Watson knows it's a city in Afghanistan. She believes he left this while being dragged out. Watson sees that the wedding party is returning. Enola rushes down, she sees the officer who was there the other night. Seeing her, he takes off and Enola follows him. The man begins to run and Enola chases him. As soon as he runs into a corner, he is shot. Enola sees a window closing above and runs after the man. The dying officer only whispers the word wrath before taking his last breath. Back at her place, Enola tries to make head or tail of the situation from all the clues she has. She tries to decipher the codes in his diary. But she is interrupted as someone is lurking at her door. She takes the candle stand and opening the door smashes at the person. But it's Tewkesbury. She instantly apologizes and tries to take care of it when he sees blood on her hands. He has heard that Sherlock is missing. She explains everything that happened along the way. Tewkesbury is upset because she was late to her own wedding. He can see that she has been unsure about it from the beginning. Enola tries to apologize, but he leaves the room. Later, Enola goes to the spot he had first brought her. She thinks of her mother who said Enola would do better being alone. There is a cave there and Tewkesbury's father said treasure was hidden inside it. They would go in with matches and imagine they found a chest of treasures. She says she did not mean to hurt him and she is not sure if she can solve this case. although she fears that if they can kill a person, they can do anything to her brother. Meanwhile, Sherlock is chained up somewhere in a dungeon. The next morning, Enola wakes up there and finds the wedding castle is burning. She runs up there immediately to look for Tewkesbury, hearing that he went in to find his mother. She rushes in. She hears his voice and goes through the fire to find him. He sees the doorknob broken and immediately realizes she must have been kidnapped. She convinces him of this and takes him out. Later, she is checked up by Watson and he says she is physically fine but the shock will remain for some time. She looks over at Tewkesbury on the other end, upset. She asks Watson what her brother would do in this moment. Watson tells her story. When he first moved in, he hoped they could be friends and prepared tea for Sherlock every evening. He would ask about his latest cases, but Sherlock would not respond to that. He eventually let go, and then one day he brought in the tray himself. Watson admits the tea was awful, but for the first time he told him about his case. Then he gets up and says, Sherlock isn't here, but she is, and he thinks her brain is equal to his. Enola goes to Tewkesbury, handing him a cup of tea. They begin to talk, and he asks if she believes it was the same people who kidnapped her brother. She is certain, and he's immensely worried about his mother. She asks when he last saw her. He replies at 9 o'clock to say good night. Tewkesbury then leaves, and Enola wonders why they would burn the house after taking her away. She understands they were looking for something and did not find it. They made sure no one would find it, either. Enola goes back to the room and begins to search. She finds a bunch of medals there. Suddenly, she sees someone at the door. She picks up a sharp object and hides. A man comes in, and she grabs hold of him, asking who he is and where Sherlock is. He says he doesn't know, and she attacks him. Eventually, a fight breaks out between them. She ends up having the upper hand and has him in a chokehold. He finally speaks up, saying he believes her brother was taken by Professor Adeline Rath. She remembers the name Rath. He says he was following her in the hope that she might know where she is. He says she is a ghost and a brutal one. She has the ear of the governor. She appeared a year ago, and they do not trust her. She lets go of him and picks him up. He says his name is Mycroft, and he is from the anti-reformist party. They believe in a free Malta, getting rid of British rule. Just then, they notice the police coming. Instantly, Mycroft takes a run, saying he will find her. The police come in and see her. They take her to the station. The cop says she's being talked about after the shooting in the street, and she failed to report the murder. Enola says she's trying to investigate the whole case and brings up the name of Adeline Rath that seems to concern the policeman. The governor barges in with Tewkesbury. He scolds the cop for holding Enola. He lets her go and apologizes for the inconvenience. Outside, Enola shows Tewkesbury the medals she found in his mother's room. He says they might be his father's war medals, meant to be a wedding gift. Just then, Enola notices a girl far ahead whose dress has the same pattern as the threads found in her brother's chamber. Enola goes after her. It's the summer carnival going on, and Enola passes through the crowd and sees her enter through a door. She goes in. The woman notices her and runs. She goes after her and comes across a rather wide tunnel. The woman comes in with a gun, and Enola asks if she is Adeline Rath. The woman says no, and she has made a mistake. Just then, she gets shot. Enola goes to help her, and the woman says Rath will kill her as she passes away. Enola crawls in and tries to understand who the Rath woman might be, and soon the clues hit her. It's Mira Tree, helped by the government officials to escape in exchange for information. Instantly, she is pulled in with a rope by Mira Tree, but Enola manages to turn it back on her. She screams if her brother is dead, and the woman responds, not yet. The woman knows all about her incidents in Malta. Enola asks if she is here to ruin her family, and Mira Tree responds, yes, among other things. A fight breaks out between them, and just then, someone shoots from behind, leading Mycroft to have Enola in a chokehold. It's Enola's mother, Eudoria. Mycroft brings out an explosive, pushes her away, and blows it up to run away. Enola instantly decides to leave, but Eudoria stops her, saying she was here for her wedding. She's a fugitive, and it was not easy for her to come forward. She wanted to see her walk down the aisle. Enola hugs her, and then Eudora says Mycroft has the same brain as her brothers. She must look forward, but never forget to see what's behind it. Enola later shares the information with Tewkesbury. She is frustrated to have fallen for a trap twice. She stumbles, and he takes her hand to walk down the hill. Enola asks him why he is so good to her. He replies because he chooses to be. He's not going to lose her. Just then, she notices a bathing cabin and runs towards it excitedly. Together, they enter the cabin and take each other's clothes off. Then, they run to the sea and later lie at the beach by campfire. Tewkesbury expresses that he was scared that he might have pressured her into the marriage. She responds that she said yes to him, but everyone crowded in, leading her to feel worried. She apologizes to him and makes amends. Meanwhile, in the dungeon, Mycroft brings in water for Sherlock, who drinks it desperately. She enjoys this as Sherlock asks her to give water to Lady Tewkesbury. She tells him she will if he can guess what she is planning. He says she came to Malta a year ago, probably with the help of someone in power. He also believes she somehow managed to bring his sister's wedding here, but he doesn't know how. Mycroft says he should ask his cellmate. Apparently, Lady Tewkesbury could not stop speaking about the wedding to everyone and failed to decide upon a place. At the table was the lady in a violet dress who reminded her of the place where she got married to her husband. He asks if it is an act of revenge. She says his mother blew up a post office and they don't flinch, but she steals from the corrupt and they send her to the police. She is frustrated with their hypocrisy and is about to leave. Sherlock reminds her of the water to Lady Tewkesbury. She takes the bottle to her and drops it all on the floor. Enola finally manages to crack the code on the notebook which said Mycroft. Soon, Tewkesbury comes in, but in a while they're interrupted by Eudora. She's introduced to him and asks her daughter if she has found a clue when Watson barges in, who also sees Eudora for the first time. Mycroft comes in as well. She wants everyone to leave, but Tewkesbury gives them a good clue. He says the woman in the purple dress, her hat was from Garrett & Company, this year's style. It's a rather expensive hat and she might not be a rebel but a spy for Mycroft. Enola remembers she was speaking with two men. One of them was the governor and the other was a man in a fox mask. Recalling the medals on him, Enola remembers it's of the brigadier. She asks Tewkesbury to show her the medals and she sees that one of them was worn by the man in the upper story of the get-together. The letter suggests it's from the Anglo-Afghan War. Watson says it was given to those who saw conflict in the Battle of Khost. Tewkesbury says his father fought with the brigadier in the Battle of Khost. Eventually, they set up a plan. Watson and Tewkesbury head into the military office while Mycroft, Enola, and Eudora sneak in. An officer comes in and Eudora goes to talk to him in a posh accent, but they don't have a plan, so she soon gets her gun out and points it at him. She makes him lead them to the records room. Tewkesbury meets with the brigadier who says they still have no news of his mother. Tewkesbury says he is here to actually ask about the city of Khost, where he was with his father. Watson also introduces himself. Enola drags the unconscious body of the officer, and they prepare to search through the files. Watson knew Tewkesbury's father and says that he wished his son to know more about the war in Khost so that he could get absolution. Enola finds a file on Khost, but a lot of pages are ripped from the middle. Looking at the indentations, she says she can retract this. She takes a pencil and begins to work. The officer is getting up, but Eudora takes a huge file and bangs it over his head, making him unconscious again. After writing it down, she realizes that in the war, 1 ton of Afghan gold was stolen. Enola realizes Mycroft knew about it. The name comes up, Sergeant Smith. She realizes he was her inside man. She then barges into the office and screams that they looted in Khost. They brought it here to Malta and hid it. Tewkesbury then desperately wants to know from the brigadier that his father was a good man. He says they were under pressure to reduce costs, but there was no way to do so. This was war, and the decision was made. He asked what his father's role in this was. He responds that the operation was his idea. Tewkesbury leaves the room devastated. Watson goes to attend him to give him some consolation. He says his father was a colonel in the British Empire in India. He worshipped him without ever wondering how much wrong he had done. Enola begs him to reveal more for the life of her brother and Tewkesbury's mother. He says the gold was never taken to Britain from Malta because Lord Tewkesbury had a guilty conscience. He made the transport ship sink and told them the gold was gone with it. The British were furious, and they punished the Maltese soldiers for it. He never said where the gold is. He said it was pirate gold. The phrase suddenly makes her think of Tewkesbury's words on the cave, how his father would take him in to play pirates. Moriarty once said she should have a share of their stolen riches. Enola realizes Mycroft doesn't know where the gold is, but she knows that Enola will figure it out. That's why she would never kill her, even though she easily could. She realizes she left the clues herself and wrote the Morse code on the mirror. She knew Tewkesbury was her lover and he would lead her to Enola. She rushes to Tewkesbury and says she has a plan. Along with Watson, she goes to the cave. She knows Mycroft will be there. Leaving him with the gun and keeping him rather worried, she walks into the cave. She proceeds further into the darkness and finds a stream of water. She sees the sign on a rock she found in multiple clues. There, she finds a chain leading down. She pulls it with force and a chest comes up. She breaks it open and it's certainly the gold. She comes out and Dr. Watson is held at gunpoint by Moriarty. They're surrounded by all her people. She says her brother will be released as soon as she gets what she needs. Enola doesn't trust her, but the gold is brought up by her men anyway. She then refuses to hand over her brother. Just then, Enola smiles as an army led by Mycroft surround her men. They're forced to put down their guns. Tewkesbury comes up as well and Mycroft drops her weapon. However, she immediately brings out two explosives and firing begins. Enola, Tewkesbury, and Watson duck as she explodes them and runs. Enola runs after her. They take horses and a chase begins. Enola knocks her over as she reaches the dungeon and hand-to-hand combat begins in which Enola drops weak. She remembers Tewkesbury and gets back her strength. Moriarty fights with a knife, but she fights fiercely and puts her down. She runs into the dungeon. She finally finds her brother. Sherlock tells her to help Lady Tewkesbury first, and she opens her knot. However, soon there's a shot. Moriarty is back with a gun. Sherlock is still tied. Moriarty goes to her and kicks her constantly. And from behind, Lady Tewkesbury slowly heads to Sherlock to untie him. Enola, fallen weak, remembers her brother's words that being emotional is understandable, but unnecessary. However, she murmurs that it's very necessary as Sherlock comes from behind to smash her to the ground. He points her gun at her, fully furious. He is prepared to shoot. Enola tells him not to do it. It's not what they believe in. He says if they give her to the police, she will just escape again and come after them again. Moriarty laughs at him and intimidates him even more. Enola says that he is being emotional. Sherlock then holds back and lowers the gun. Just then, Lady Tewkesbury rushes in and bangs her head against the stone. Later, the officials discuss that Mycroft will be sent to the highest security prison in Britain with no chance to escape. Tewkesbury says the goal will be traveling back to Afghanistan with him and Dr. Watson. The brigadier willfully accepts his arrest along with the governor. Sherlock looks at Lady Tewkesbury and tells Enola she was rather brave. Enola tells him that the codes on the notebook were rather hard to decipher. Sherlock says, yet she solved it. He thanks her for everything. He apologizes for their argument, and she says the same. He then says she is a Holmes, but in truth, she is much more than that. She hugs him tightly. At night, as she spends her time with Tewkesbury, she says she will keep her last name. He says he is resigning his title as well and will take on her blood name, Tewkesbury Gore. She is surprised to hear the weird name, but accepts it nonetheless. It's the day of the marriage. Eudora is there. She believes she has chosen the right man, unlike her. Edith is also there, and the two hug. Eudora says her name, Enola, backwards of alone, has unfortunately cursed her. She then heads to the aisle and kisses Tewkesbury. Eudora stops them, saying not yet. Mycroft can't stop talking about how he is a member of the Reformist Party to Edith. Lady Tewkesbury blesses them. The marriage commences as everyone celebrates it happily. Thank you for watching the video.